Finally, a budgeting app that actually predicts my future balance. But wait, one that also gives me money for using the app to help clear my debts? Is that legit? Honestly, this is just a marketing strategy that leverages a wealth redistribution loop to help pay our most vulnerable users money to help clear their debts. And I'll talk to you more about it at the end of the video. My name is Terry, and I'm the creator of Stuffrite. Welcome. I began Stuffrite because my partner and I wanted a digital version of envelope budgeting, or cash stuffing, if you like. We just don't handle cash and therefore don't really use envelopes as well. But we love the system and we wanted a digital version of that as an app. So I'd already kind of started this project. Now, believe it or not, I'm a lorry driver, and I started this as a kind of hobby, as a sideline. But unfortunately, back in September 2025, about 7 months ago now, I sustained an injury at work, and that means that currently I'm unable to safely do my job. But what that has meant is that I've had a lot of time to pour so much effort and love into this project. So what was a hobby has now turned into a bit of an obsession. Now, the core of this whole app is based on, like I said, envelope budgeting, but it also employs a zero-based budgeting system. And this is how it works. Envelope budgeting is basically the way that you divide your income to pay the bills that fund your life. Yeah, so it's just the division of your income. And zero-based budgeting works on the principle of everything you earn has to have a purpose or a job before it leaves your account or before you spend it. And this app makes those two things so simple. And those two things also power the ability to predict your future balance very accurately as well. So let's get into it. So whether you've set up binders and envelopes during the onboarding already, this video is just a simple guide to show the type of versatility in the envelopes you can create and the power of the projection engine every time you create a new envelope. So let's create our account first. Now, Stuffrite doesn't link in any way to your bank account. It is all 100% private. Everything is stored on your device first, and then it only syncs to a database so that you can work in a workspace with a partner so that you can use the app together. But it makes you update the app yourself and makes you therefore face your money. It is essentially a financial sandbox that allows you to make predictions about your future balance and use it as a kind of wealth projection tool as well. But we're going to focus on just setting up envelopes for this video. When you create an account, the icon system will just use the name that you've entered for your bank or savings or credit card here, and will automatically pull the business favicon. You can also use any icon or emoji that you like to represent your bank account here. We're just going to set this account up with 500 quid. Now, in order to maintain our budget properly and power the projection engine in this app, we need to enter our pay details or our income schedule. This only requires your salary amount and pay dates, but these aren't always crystal clear, I know, so I've built a pay synchronization engine here to allow for varying pay frequencies. So let's say you work a shift pattern and you earn different amounts at different times, but on a regular rotation. So the pay pattern here will just capture that, and then if you're paid random amounts and weird times of the month because maybe you're on commission or you're self-employed or a contractor or whatever, I've built an income bandwidth analyzer. So you only have to enter the amounts that you've earned on the dates that you earned it, and the system will calculate a conservative or balanced or even an optimistic amount for you. And you can quantify that into a pay frequency that represents your ideal income strategy. So the purpose of all this is to sense check your monthly affordability And we do this because the world kind of bills you monthly, from like your mortgage or your rent to subscriptions, etc. And it just makes sense to look at your monthly affordability for financial commitments. And the app does this fully to help you calculate that. So let's look at the account screen now. All these fields here are designed to inform you about how your budget is split across your financial commitments, rather than just one big misleading number that your bank shows you. This is what financial responsibility looks like, folks. So let's create our first envelope. Now, bills in this app are called Autopilots because they reflect the kind of automatic payments that come out of your account each month. Things like direct debits or standing orders or any regular scheduled reoccurring payment. And we program them in here. So let's say we're going to buy Netflix subscription for the first time today. We'd obviously see that money come out of our real account because we're going to buy it now, and then we'd have the ongoing bill date being from the day that we bought the subscription. So in Stuffrite, we use a term called cash flow, and this represents the flow of money from your income, how much you get paid, when it goes into your account, and then when it goes into your envelopes from your account. And this is the kind of split of your income to fill your envelopes. So when you create a new envelope, cash flow represents how much is going into each envelope, or the envelope that you're currently setting up, like we're doing here. So the whole magic of cash flow sits right here. All it will tell you is whether you need to fund this envelope now or after payday. It's that simple. That is it. So since we need to pay this now, we're going to fund it now from our available balance. Now, after we've saved that, we get a quick summary of what we just did. And now we can have a look at the 8-week cash flow timeline. Now we know our balance was £500 when we set up the account, and we just took out £18.99 or 19 quid. So as you can see here, on our payday, the funds are reserved, and that is what is changing the balance of our account here, not the actual amount being deducted on the date it's due to be debited. And this is the power behind the Stuffrite cash flow engine. It reserves the funds every payday for your financial commitments, and that truly lets you know what you've got left available to spend. But not all payments and bills are the same. So let's look at something like utilities, where they can bill you different amounts of money at different times of the month. In this case, we don't want a regular amount of money coming out of our account at a regular time of the month. We need to actually have money available for when this bill arrives and we actually have to pay it. So we can manually assign a starting amount and a manual cash flow amount instead. So let's say our energy bill is around £170 for the last few months, and to make sure we're covering the cost of that, we're going to set up £200 starting amount for this envelope and a cash flow amount of £200 so that we know we're pretty much covered. Obviously, bills fluctuate, but with the utilities, it's kind of hard to predict anyway, unless you're on a meter, in which case it's easy to budget. So let's take a look at our account now so you can see a little bit of how the system works. We've spent $18.99 on Netflix, and we just put $200 into our envelope for Octopus Energy. So how does our balance get split? Well, you can see that we have $281.01 available, but we've actually got $481.01 in total because we've just got 200 quid sat in an envelope. But obviously that's technically not available because we want to keep that for our Octopus Energy bill. So we know we've got 200 in an envelope and we have 281 to either fund new envelopes with a starting balance or spend in real life on whatever we want. But let's just have a quick look at the cash flow section here, because this is the real work that's being done to manage your monthly affordability. When we set up our account and our pay details, we said we earn a couple of grand a month, and we've just committed £218.99 for Netflix and Octopus Energy. So we've only got £1,781.01 available to spend on other financial commitments. You know, stuff like rent and water and food and transport, etc. And this is the truth of your affordability. This is how much you've got to spend on your life. So let's carry on. What about bills that come at different intervals altogether, like maybe a quarterly TV license or a yearly MOT? Well, just like Netflix, we're going to create an autopilot, but instead we're going to set it to 3 months. And the system knows exactly how much we need to put in every payday for this envelope so that the money is there in 3 paydays time to square this up. Quick aside here, I haven't bought a TV license in a long time because I just use streaming services, don't look at the BBC, and I forgot how much it is. And I think in the back of my mind, I was thinking it's probably about 15 quid every month, and therefore 45 quid every quarter. But I just managed to stupidly put 15 quid a quarter instead. So my bad. I'm not, completely departed from reality. I accept that I just made a mistake here in the screen recording, but the principle is still the same. The system knows you need to put away X amount every month to make sure that you've got enough when the bill is due in X amount of months' time. All right, back to the video. So in this terrible example of the cost of a TV license, you'll be putting a £5 aside every month, and you'll be using the same principle when setting things up like an MOT or an annual insurance bill or car servicing, things like that, things that don't happen every month and come around less frequently. And the cash flow system just determines how much you need to put aside every payday to fund it when the bill is due. Now let's create a different type of envelope. We're going to create an emergency fund envelope, and savings goals in Stuffrite are called horizons. Now, these envelopes are geared towards helping you visualize your progress, and they provide you controls to infuse them with extra cash each payday, and it gives you control over the funding strategies for each savings goal, so you know how soon you're going to reach your horizon goals. So you've got a few different choices when setting up a horizon envelope depending on your goals. Let's look at the first one. So let's say for this option, we know we want to save 500 quid for Christmas, for example, by the 1st of December. So the app will tell you exactly how much to save each payday to have 500 quid by the 1st of December. It is that easy. But we want an emergency fund. So we're going to use our cash flow amounts to create an emergency fund that covers all of our bills for the next 6 months. Now, I know it's $223.99 because we looked at it just a second ago, but I want to show you a quick quality of life addition I've built into each value field in the app. So use the inbuilt calculator to auto-populate your value fields. So we know we've got Netflix and we've got Octopus Energy and a TV license. Now we just need to multiply that by 6 for the 6 months amount, and that's our total. Then when we cancel out the calculator, we've already got that amount put into our value field. Now, we can either use a fixed amount from our income, or if you have a 50, 30, 20 budgeting strategy on your mind already, you can input the 20% here. And that 20% is actually based on your available income. So that's our 1,781.01. Now, you can kickstart any Horizon envelope when you set it up right at the beginning with anything from your available balance. So we've got 280 odd quid, and we can't afford to put a full month's worth in there of 355. So we're just going to chuck 50 quid in there just to get our ball rolling here. Now, we set that up and all of our envelopes are in the 8-week cash flow timeline, and we can see how much our balance is on payday after all of our commitments have been reserved. And there we go. Now, this is just the beginning of your journey though, because in the next episode, we're going to look at binders, which help you categorize all of your finances. So things like household, things like shopping and car and, kids, things like that. And then we're going to look a little bit deeper at some of the projection tools in the app that really help you predict your financial future. Now let's talk about the Stuffrite Restore Project. And maybe that's the only reason you're here and you've skipped the whole video, in which case that's fine. The objective for me here is to not give money to Google and Facebook and TikTok and spend money in the business to promote videos and boost posts and stuff like that, I would much rather use an organic marketing strategy that puts that money into your pockets. I don't want to pay marketing executive millions like most tech startups do just to get my app out there. I would much rather put the money in your pocket and use it for, to help you clear financial hurdles. That's the whole purpose of the app. But it doesn't have to happen once. I would like this to be an ongoing thing. And this is where the flow of the idea comes into it. So I'm not going to get into the real nitty-gritty of it, but I'm going to provide you enough detail so you understand the system and how it works. So this is the Stuffrite website, and I'm going to slowly scroll through this while I give it to you in my own words. Basically, you need to use the app for a few months. This allows you and us to establish your budget, and then once you've securely opted in, you'll be basically signing some T's and C's to allow our pet financial advisor to do their due diligence on your budget and look through your personal financial situation, request bank statements from you and things like that. And they're going to make sure that we're not funding anything illicit or a chronic gambling habit or anything like that. And it's also going to allow us to film the transition of your budget as well. So the idea is that the financial advisor is going to take your budget and create a new strategy with that, and hopefully free up some surplus cash for you in your budget, maybe provide you with a debt consolidation strategy if that's what's required, just ways basically to help you manage your budget better. And then we're going to use the projection tool in the app, so Envision. We're going to activate that on your current budgeting strategy that you've had for the last few months or however long you've had it before you qualify. And then we're going to do it with the new budget from the financial advisor and see the projection there and look at the before and after. And then finally, the cash injection. We're going to help fund some of your envelopes in the app, or maybe one envelope, clear some debt, whatever the financial hurdle is that you want to give the cash towards. Then we'll look at the projection after that as well. And that's basically it. That's the idea of the app in its entirety, is to create content from this, and you'll be basically signing to say that you understand that this is a marketing strategy. We're not giving you profits from the business. So in terms of compliance for the tax man, we are going to, say that this is part of the business's marketing budget, and our strategy is that we create content by giving users money from the business. And that content is, our whole marketing strategy. It goes on YouTube, and you're signing to say that everything we film, the content that we film, from the screen recordings of your budget to the interaction in the Zoom call with the financial advisor, all of that is going to go on YouTube and be on social media and basically in the public domain. So that is it. And hopefully, the money that's generated from the content we create goes back into the business to create more marketing budget. That is the idea. That is the loop. That's the wealth redistribution loop. So, not everything that comes out of the revenue from your subscription goes straight back into the pockets of everyone. We're hoping to generate more revenue from the content we create, to basically put back into the marketing budget as well. And then the subscription costs are going to, pay my salary, but I'm going to cap it once it hits a certain threshold. I don't need loads and loads and loads of money. I want to, invest it back into the business as much as I possibly can. So as you can see from the website, the 1st of May is when the app goes live. And you guys will get 40% off your first year. So instead of the standard cost of £25 for the year or $2.99 a month, for the whole of May from the 1st, you can get 40% off, which is only 15 quid for the year. Thanks for watching. All the best.